Okay, here we're starting our Meteor New York Meetup. I'm Filipe Névola, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about like what is Tiny and what's going on in Meteor in the last weeks and in the last months. And let's get started. Like the first thing that I would like to tell you guys is that in October 19, like Andrew publishing the forums, like Meteor forums, that's an important channel of information. It's forums.meteor.com. You should try to follow. I know it's hard, but you should try to follow it, see what's going on there. And Andrew just published that he acquired Meteor. Like Andrew is one of the founders of Tiny Capital. And like, what is Tiny Capital? Then Tiny Capital is a group of companies, and we have Dribble, and we have like Z1, and we have multiple companies. We have a lot of like job boards, and then Tiny just acquired companies. And then if you want to know more about Tiny, I'm not like a Tiny specialist. I know what is in the website, but if you want to know more about Tiny, you can go to the Tiny website and you can read. It's pretty nice because they have like pretty standard way to buy companies. Like if you have this profile, then we can buy you and send an email, and I think it's nice. And they just bought Meteor. Then that's the news from October. And after this news, what I did, I just sent an email to these guys because they have like a reload of Meteor at meteor.com, an email, and they post in the forums. And I just told them like a few ideas that I had for Meteor and for Galax, but I was not like looking for a job. I was just explaining what were my ideas for Meteor if I was in their position. And then after that, we start to exchange some emails, and they said, oh, I think you can help in Meteor, and then I start to work for them. But that's was the beginning of my relationship with Tiny. Then I don't know these guys previously or after, but now I'm working with them. And actually, when you talk about Meteor and Tiny, we are not talking about Tiny and Meteor as the same company. Like Tiny is just a group of companies. Like Tiny is just an investor capital. Yeah. Then we are not, when you talk about in the photos and everywhere, people are saying like Tiny, 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 but Tiny is just like a group. The real company behind Meteor is called Meteor Software. Of course, it's a new company, but this company is the replacement for MDG. Then Meteor Development Group is no longer the owner of Meteor and Galax. Now Meteor Software Ltd is the owner of Meteor and also Galax. Then I believe they bought the intellectual property of Meteor and the product and the code and everything for Galax. Then that was the transition. The Meteor Software is a Canadian company because Tiny is also a Canadian company. That's only important if you're a Galax customer, because then your invoice starts to be from Canada. And I think some people had some issues because of international fees. And anyway, you need to deal with this because now Meteor is a Canadian company, not an American company anymore. Any questions? Because, sorry, we are recording, but we are here in Starbucks in New York. Then you have a group of people with me. Then if they have any questions, they can interrupt me. Do you have any questions? You good? Yeah.
Good news.
And who is Filipe? Like, I am a developer for like more than 10 years, and I'm a Meteor user for many years. And I think that's really, really important here, because I was not a guy that was hired to market Meteor. Like, I'm a guy that I think I know a little bit about Meteor, and I was trying to help, and then they asked for my help, and then we are working together. But I think that's important because the pains that you feel sometimes, like in the old days of Meteor, I also felt. Then I think I'm in a good position to at least understand. But I know that will be an issue in 6 months, 1 year. I will be an inside person. Then I need your feedback, because maybe I will commit the same mistakes that I was like feeling as a pain when I was outside. Then I'm really open for feedbacks, and I'm really like open to any kind of feedback. Like, oh, this is really bad, this is really good, that's okay. Like, I'm always trying to see every feedback as a good thing. Like, even if you are really sad with Meteor and maybe angry, but that's okay. You should reach me and you can try to understand what's happening. Like, our idea, and I feel that from Tiny as well, like, it's not to hide anything or to have secrets. It's quite the opposite. Like, everything that I asked for Tiny so far, they provide the best answer for me. Like, and I'm saying the best answer in the sense the best for Meteor. Then I don't have anything bad to say about Tiny, because every time that I said, oh, I think this is important, they said, okay, go ahead. Then they are really trying to make Meteor better. And I think that makes sense then, because if I don't know how many money they put in Meteor, but think like if you buy like a MacBook or anything, you want this to be the best as possible for you. Then it makes no sense. Like some people are saying in the forums, like, oh, Tiny is going to kill Meteor. Like, what is the idea here? Like that makes no sense. Like if you buy a company, you want this company to be better, to provide more money and to generate value, because the money is just like the result, but to generate money, you need to provide some value for a community or for a company. And then that's our goal with Meteor. It's not to kill Meteor, it's to make Meteor better and better. And we need your feedback to create this vision together. Of course, we have a lot of ideas what we want to do. And I'm also like a developer and architect. I have led a lot of teams and a lot of projects my whole career. I have a lot of experience in the automobile, like automakers companies. Like in Brazil, I have worked with the major automobile companies, like even Harley Davidson from the US, and a lot of companies from Japan, or Audi, BMW. Then I have a lot of experience with like big projects and big companies, and I think that also can help here, because we need to have these big companies in Meteor, because they really help us to spread the word, and like, oh, this company is using Meteor, and then Meteor is scale. That is something that I want to talk a little bit about today also. And I'm also a instructor. Like I work for like one of the biggest company in Brazil to provide tech lessons. And then I have a little bit of experience teaching how to code. And I think that's also good. And I'm planning for this year a lot of tutorials and videos and meetups like this. Like right now, they are pretty rare, but we want to change this. Like I want to have these meetups every month, or even every every week. Then we need to see what's the best period, and maybe some of these meetings should be like in the morning, some in the afternoon, and some in the nights for me in Brazil, because we have people all over the world. Then we are starting to do this year, because last year was just like 2 months and we had a lot of things to do. Then like this year, we are going to have a lot of more meetings and videos and content. That's the idea. And then, of course, I'm a developer evangelist. Then, but I would like to reinforce here that I'm not like a market person that just try to everybody to use Meteor. No, I'm a developer. I want you to use Meteor if the Meteor is the best choice for you, or if you can improve Meteor to be the best choice for you. Like I'm not going to say to everybody that's in a message in the forums like, oh, use Meteor, use Meteor, use Meteor. Sometimes Meteor can be not the best choice, but for many cases, Meteor, in my opinion, is the best choice. And I can say that because I'm using Meteor in a lot of projects that I'm doing. That I'm not just recommend something that I'm not using, because that would not be enough for me. I would not be here saying like use Meteor and I'm not using Meteor. That makes no sense. Then my idea is really to improve Meteor with your help and other developers to have a better tool and to really have a good Meteor in the future. Okay, then I would to very fast just to summarize why I love Meteor. Like, because again, I'm not a market person. I really like Meteor and I use Meteor. Like the first thing for me is like, why Meteor? Why we should choose Meteor for your next project? And I think what is important for me is that Meteor makes development simple, and it's focused on the results and not in the technology itself. And it's also open. And I would like to try to justify a little bit each of these points. Like first, it's simple because you can start a Meteor project just running a command like Meteor create, and like we are going to put more create templates pretty soon. Like today, I was working on a new template that's for you to create a mobile application with Cordova and Fastlane to deliver it to stores automatically, and PWA settings, and a lot of things that I have done in my personal projects or in the company projects that I have worked. Then we are going to incorporate these commands and these utilities in Meteor. And that's one of the steps that we are doing. And also Meteor is pretty easy because you don't need to have a client setup and a server setup. In Meteor, you have both sides together in a like transparent way. You don't need to be worried about where is my bundle coming from and how my bundle is talking with the server. That's abstracted from you. And everything that you say that is abstract, it's something that you don't need to spend time on it. Of course, sometimes you want to go further and you want to split the parts. Maybe Meteor is not the best option in this case, but we even have some people in the community, like the guild. I don't know if you know this group. It's the Yurigo, the Yuri. Oh, yeah, this guy worked for MDG in the past. Yeah, yeah. And they have like a Meteor client. The Angular, they use Angular a lot. And they have like a package that's called a Meteor Client Bundler, I guess, where you can use a Meteor just for the client side. Then you can have all the benefits of not having to configure Webpack and everything. And you can just produce a bundle and put on S3 and serve statically. Then it's pretty cool. I think they are using it. A few other people are also using this, and that's just one of the options that you have. Yeah, you can generate just a bundle as you would do with Create React app, and you can just publish anywhere. It's just a JavaScript, and then it will just be the yeah. But then you are in your own path. Like you need to do the connections. They're not going to be like already in place, but you can like call a REST API or a GraphQL API.
So you're saying if you just want to build a front end using Meteor, you can do it with this.
Yeah, you want to use the packages, you want to use like the build tool, you can do it. That's a good alternative. Yeah, then the question was, just to repeat for the recording, like I have a content management and I would like to have like two pieces, one to manage the content, one other to expose the content. And sure, you can have like a full Meteor app in one side, like your admin to manage the content. Then you can have like a lightweight, just client-side Meteor app to consume this content. Maybe from the same server, you can just expose an API from here, and you don't need to run like a server side dedicated just for this client side. Then you can just have this statically render in the client. That's a good alternative. It's from community, and also that's important because you have many things that are good from Meteor, but they are coming from the community. The Meteor community is still pretty powerful. Then that's just one example. And also to deploy with Meteor, like if you are using Galax, of course, here I'm also talking about Galax because again, the tiny company, the Meteor software is Galax and Meteor. You can deploy with just a command, but we also have like Southern, is a guy from the community that's doing an amazing work with the MUP and the MUP installed, and they have a lot of packages that you can also deploy in different providers. Like, and that's actually one of the points that I'm going to talk later. Also, I think Meteor is result-oriented because you have mobile support built in. For me, this is a killer feature of Meteor because myself, I don't like native apps. And I'm not saying like as a developer, as a user, I don't like to install apps all the time in my phone. And we know from research, like I think I read a research from Google, like 50% of the users are not going to install any app. Then it's when you are trying to build a native app, it's very hard to get in the phone because we are tech people. Then we have huge phones with a lot of memory. But like my father, my mother, they can't install any app because their phone is limited and you don't have enough memory. But that's important for the market. Maybe your client wants to have a native app, but maybe you don't agree as a developer or as a company, it's not a good strategy for you to put a lot of effort to write in Swift code, Kotlin code, a lot of duplicated code just in different languages. Then Meteor is a really, really good approach because you can have a Cordova app. I know that Cordova is kind of seen as an old technology, but it's not really old. You have like new versions and you can really build powerful apps with Cordova. I can even show one example of one app that I have later. Then you can have like PWA and everything that you have outside Meteor, you can also have in Meteor. But in Meteor, it's easier because you have the Cordova integration. Then you can build the app pretty easily. And in the future, you'll be able to also publish that more easily with Galax and the other features that we are going to provide. Another thing that's really cool, that's usually seen as a bad thing in Meteor, and I understand that in some ways it's bad, is the package system. But the package system in Meteor, it's like controversial to say that it's good, but the package system is a little bit more powerful than NPM because you can eager loading code. Like I don't know if you have used like Meteor accounts, and in the early days with Blaze, you can just like include the package and then your account is working. You just put your credentials, your secrets, and that's crazy. That's really good. because the package system has this capacity to eager load the code. Usually on NPM, you need to import something. I'm not saying like NPM is not better. For most cases, NPM packages are better than Atmosphere packages, but Atmosphere packages also have this idea of zero code of lines required, and that's hard to achieve with NPM.
One of the most powerful examples that I've seen of the package system being used in an application is Sasha's work with Telescope and with Vulkan.
Vulkan, yeah.
You know, where you could just pop a package in, and all of a sudden you have in your application, you know, you have like a complete like forums-based, you know, module that's just alive like in a second. You don't really have to do very much configuration. And then, you know, you put something else in, and you might have, you know, full authentication, you know, with multiple layers of roles. That's already configured for you.
Server and client sometimes.
Okay.
And you also have Just Do. I don't know if you know these guys, but they are starting a new company, and they have a product called Just Do. It's a task management system, and it's built on Meteor, and also it leverages the Meteor package systems to be extendable. Then you can create new packages, and then seamlessly, like very easy, you can put new features. They have even a video demo where they show how to put like a map inside a form, and the guy just writes in a package, like in the package itself, plugs automatically in the form, the forum and everything. And that's really good. And it's really hard to make with NPM. Most of the things you can do it, but it's a little bit harder. And it's open, because I think this part's really, really important. As I said in the beginning, I already work with big companies, and big companies will be really worried to be locked in a solution that they can deploy in a different provider if just like Galax decide to raise the price or any of these things. And also you have like the open source for the builder, for the packages. I'm calling packages here, but it's the core packages, because Meteor is just a bunch of core packages combined together, and also the builder, the tooling. And you also don't have this vendor lock-in. You can deploy anywhere. In the end, after the Meteor build command, that's open source. It's just a node project. Then you can deploy with forever, with any node tool. You'll be able to run Meteor. And you even have other providers that offer Meteor hosting. Then that's good, because if you have like a proprietary code that's just running in one platform, then we are not in a good spot too.
Yeah, we have a couple of our members here that Mirza and Justin that built a single line deployment for Now service, Meteor Now. And they've also done that for Heroku, so they call that Meteor Hero. You know, so yeah.
Hey, it's an option, and then it's good because you're not locked in a provider. And just these are just a few items that personally for me they are really important. And also we just published, I think like 1 month ago, a roadmap for Meteor. We have 2 new roadmaps. I will talk about the Galax one later, but we have a roadmap for Meteor, and the roadmap is like a different document right now. I think I have it open here. Like the roadmap right now is a list of items where you have a leader, you have a status, and you have the PRs or the reference to the code if the code's already started. Then this is really important for you to check out, because the idea with leaders is that we as a company, we are also doing this work, but we also want the community to participate in this work, and you can coordinate this work. Like a leader is not necessarily somebody that's going to write all the code, but it's somebody that's concerned about this specific topic. Like Southern that I mentioned, that's doing an amazing work with like the MUP and the MUP beanstalk. He's also really interested in performance. Then he's going to work in this build performance improvement that every Meteor developer wants to have. Then that's really something that you should take a look. And if you see an item that you have interest, then reach me out or asking the forums or asking on Slack how to help. And for sure, we are going to open the doors for you to help us. One thing that I also mentioned, like the update to Cordova 9, I'm working on this personally with Renan. That's another guy. That's also my friend, but that's just a coincidence. But that's another guy that's really interested and really knows a lot about native stuff. Then we should really understand like each member in the community, like what are their strengths, and then you should try to learn from them and to have a better community. And Renan is just an example here, because he's also an Android developer, iOS developer, that for me, it's hard because I'm a web developer. Then these guys can really help us to improve Meteor as a whole. Then we our plan is to every quarter to update the roadmap, because I know in the past the roadmap was not updated for some years or some months. But the idea is to every quarter to update the roadmap. Maybe you change our minds, or maybe some items are done, or maybe the leaders are changing. Then every time this roadmap is a live document, and we want to keep it up to date.
How do you guys make decisions on the roadmap?
We are basically, the idea to create this first roadmap was to hear from the community. Then we read a lot of stuff everywhere, like in the forums, in the outside forums, and also on Twitter. And then we try to grab everything together, and what we agree, we put in the roadmap. But that was the first one. I think now the best approach, it's in the slide, is to open PRs. Like if you disagree with the roadmap, the previous roadmap was written like, don't open PRs against the roadmap. But here I'm saying the opposite, like open PRs against the roadmap. Like let's discuss together. Like I don't have this pretension. I don't know if that's the right word in English. Like I don't want to be like the guy making decisions or tiny, because Meteor is so much bigger than just a company. Like Meteor is affecting a bunch of companies. Then I think you should discuss this publicly and see what's best. Of course, in the end, Tiny is the owner of Meteor, and then maybe you need to make hard choice. But in most cases, I think you can build an agreement together and decide together.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. Because of that, I'm asking to open PRs. If you don't agree, I think Benjamin, like a few days ago, like 5 days ago, just merged a PR, because one guy was asking about like Storybook to include in the roadmap, the ability to plug other tools, and then just discussing the PR, and then we merge the roadmap. Then that's also important.
Can we vote on the PR? Like,
Right now we don't have a vote system, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's also a good idea. I think you can evolve to have this, because I was a Java developer for like 10 years, and in the Java world, I don't know if you know that, but Java has something that's called Java community process, where you have community members that have rights to vote, and everything is decided together. Then Oracle can't like make a decision by their own. That's just one idea, but we need to explore this in the future. We need to see first how things are going, but we can create like a better system to really prioritize things together. I think that's a good direction to go, but we need to be careful, because in my opinion, that's a personal opinion, like Java is a little bit slow in making progress because of this committee, because you need to decide together. Then you need to have that deadline. You need to wait everybody to vote. Then it has the good side and also the downside. Then you need to find a better balance, I believe. Okay? And then let's talk a little bit about Galax. I think Galax will be faster. Like Galax is the same idea why I think Galax is important. I have been using Meteor before Galax was released, and it was not so good to deploy a Meteor app, because you need to learn about like the server. You need to create a server on DigitalOcean or on Amazon, and you need to spend time. That's the whole point of like deployments and infrastructure. Then with Galax, you just run a command, and you don't need to worry about what's running below your code, because you just have like the Galax doc image that you can customize if you want, but you don't need in most cases. And then you just run a command and you run your app. Since Galax was released like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I'm using Galax for my project. And like I never had a downtime or any other issue, like major issue with Galax. And I was just talking with a guy like 2 weeks ago, and I asked him like, what will happen if your app is down? And he said to me like, oh, my app was never down. And I'm using Galax because he was without any dev support, just like the business side. Then Galax is really reliable. And I think that's really important for a hosting service. Then we have a lot of failovers and a lot of things that are developed especially for Meteor. Because when you deploy in other providers, usually or you're using your own code to run your servers, or they are just using some code to like generic service. But Meteor, in the most cases, we are using WebSockets and a different architecture for most projects, because usually projects are using REST and just HTTP, and you are using WebSockets. Then you need to be a little bit careful when you choose about these projects. I'm not saying they are bad, but they are not just built for Meteor. Galax is just a whole service for Meteor. Then we have a lot of concerns basically for Meteor. And again, just to try to justify why I'm saying simple, like one command deploy, we have the free automatic SSL with Let's Encrypt. That's great from the community again, from the broader community. And you have built-in CO with pre-rendering. That's really cool. We have the Meteor accounts that you can use. You don't need to create a new subscriptions or anything. We have also Meteor APM, that's also from the community, but it was bought from MDG a few years ago. It was done by Aranoda. Then I know a lot of people here are old for Meteor, then they know Aranoda. And then it's Kadira. We have Kadira integrated with Galax. That's really cool. Then you have also a basic log system. I know it's pretty basic. We want to improve this as well, because sometimes it's hard to find a log that was like yesterday. And again, I was a Meteor user. Then I know the pain to try to find this log because I had to find sometimes. But we have a log in place that you don't need to do anything. It's for free. It's there. It's not for free, like it's included in Galax service. And we also are planning a lot of features for Galax. We have the full roadmap to read later. But the idea to push to deploy, it's really cool. Like a lot of other providers are doing this, like just publish to Meteor and to Git, and then you read from Git and you create a deploy. I don't think that's going to be very hard to implement, and Galax, we want to implement that. And also we want to have, this is something that I really think it's really cool personally, because native apps are here. Like I said already that I don't love them, but I need to create them for the clients. Then we want to create a system where you can just with a few clicks be able to publish your applications to App Store and to Google Play. I'm able to do this already in three different projects in the past. Then we want to do this also inside Galax. That would be like a service inside Galax. I don't have like details, oh, it's including the price, it's not. It's just a new service that you need to understand how we are going to provide for the users. And again, Galax is reliable. You have like zero downtime, because when you start a new deployment, I know that a few solutions that we have from the community, they need to stop the container, and after you start the container, then you have like 1 minute, 2 minutes downtime. On Galax, this is zero downtime, because we have like an overlap of containers, and then just when the new container is already responding to the request, you kill the other one. Then it's really good if you have like important critical applications where you don't want your users to be offline. We also have the rollback feature. It's really cool. Like if your version is bad, you can just click a button and then you can revert to the last version. We have IP whitelist. If you want to connect your database from an IP whitelist, we have this. We have, nobody knows that, but I put here because it's some internal. But you have like a custom proxy layer on Galax, like when you are receiving connections and you are directing connections for different containers. That's not just a code that you copy and paste from the web, like MDG at the time. They create a proxy code in Go to handle these requests and to understand how many WebSockets do you have in each container, and then distribute the loading balance. Then it's a custom layer just for Meteor. Like I don't know of any other provider that has a custom layer built for WebSockets and for Meteor connections. Then it's a really good thing. In most cases, when you are using Galax, if you have like 3 containers, you see exactly the same number of clients on each container. Then if you can measure your app by 1 client, you can just multiply, and you have like almost the same number of connected clients on each container. And that's pretty good if you want to scale up in a reliable way. And we also have new features here, just a few of them. We have more in the roadmap, like notifications. Right now, if your app, if you deploy fail, you need to look to the activities in the right side of Galax to know that your deploy failed. You want to put like notifications for everything that shows in the active panel in the right side. Then you can put a Slack webhook or an email and just receive these notifications. Outscaling, I think this is the most requested feature for Galax. I was requesting this in 2015 when I was in a happy hour with MDG people. Then for me, it's really important because I was asking this. Then I think we'll be able to deliver this in the first quarter of this year. Also, something that's really cool is to change the settings on the fly, because sometimes you just like want to migrate a database or to just change the settings, but you don't want to create a new deploy, you wait like 5-10 minutes for your app to be built. You can just change the settings there and just restart the container. That's something that we also are going to provide, and you can just change the settings directly on Galax and not just in the deploy command. And also we have plans to create like automatic alerts. Like the idea here is to try to leverage the knowledge that we have as Meteor developers to build inside Galax and Kadira a few alerts that teach you how to make a better Meteor code. Like if you have a publication that takes longer, or if you have a method that takes too long, or if you're not using unblocked methods. Like in most cases, you should use unblocked methods, but most of people are not using unblocked methods. Then this kind of learning that you have because you are Meteor users for a long time, we would like to incorporate in the tooling. Then you can just teach you how to be a better Meteor developer. We know that's not an easy task. That will take some time to be good, but you can improve it over, little by little, like baby steps. Because right now, when I see a Kadira report, I can very easily find a few bottlenecks because I have been seeing Kadira reports for like 5 years. But if you are the first application that you deploy with Meteor, it's really scary because you have a lot of numbers, and maybe it's the first APM tool that you are using, because the APM tools are very similar, like New Relic, Kadira, they are pretty similar. But if you are new to the APM tools, you have no idea what's happening. And it's really hard to understand because it's just a new information for you, and you should try to improve this information and improve your code as well.
Are there going to be any updates to like multi-region support? So if I want to have servers in different regions, are there going to be any updates to something like that?
Do you mean to add more regions?
Yeah. So if I want to have servers across different regions.
Yeah, one of the things that I would like to post very soon is to understand where people would like to deploy Meteor, because for now you can deploy Meteor in Ireland, you can deploy Meteor in Virginia, and you can deploy Meteor in Asia, but I don't remember, I think Australia. But I know we have a lot of users in Germany, a lot of users in India, but I don't know if they want to deploy there or not. And I think with GDPR, it's going to be harder for like European people. I think in the France, in some parts of the country in Europe, you need to deploy your code in the country that you are providing the service. Then like we just have in Ireland, then that can be an issue. Then for sure it's in the plans to add more regions to Galax. And Galax is built in a way that one region, it's like Amazon. Like you have independent Galax on each regions, then you can start a new region without affecting the other regions. And that was, I think, a good decision from MDG in the past. Then you have like stacks that are independent. Then if you need to start a new region, it's just like a new Galax instance. Of course, we spend money in these servers running all the time. Then you need to have an amount of clients that will be worth to run a new instance. But if you need like a new region, please open a ticket or ask in the forums, because we need to know how many people have on each region to create these new regions. But that's of course is the plan. Okay. And just to finish this Galax part, we also have a roadmap for Galax. I think it's the first roadmap for Galax. At least I don't remember another one from the past, but it's public. Then it's in the forums. I think we need to migrate this for a GitHub or for a place where it's easy to find, because the forums it's just down right now. Then you can find it. But I'm going to migrate to a better place pretty soon. Also, we are open to ideas because we are using Galax. Like I'm using Galax, and people are using Galax. But maybe you have an edge case that we are not following. Then it's important to submit ideas like, oh, I would like to have this feature. A few people already are doing this through the tickets, and it's pretty good because you can understand what are the needs. And we are also looking for new options for pricing. And that's a tough part because, of course, servers cost a lot of money. But we are thinking in how to create a plan on Galax that will be doable for like hobby projects and also for open source demos. Because back in the days when Meteor was starting, it was pretty cool because you run like Meteor deploy and you have an URL and you can send to your friends. I even, one day I was going to my sister's house in the night, and we really like a game. It's called Dixty, but it didn't have the cards to play the game. Then I said to my wife, I tried to build this game for tonight. And I was able to build the game for one day. And with Meteor, in the night, I just read Meteor deploy, I get the URL, and in the night we'll be able to play a game. That's crazy. Like in one day, you build a game for free and you deploy. And I don't know if you're going to be able.
Yeah. I will tell you, back then, that was one of the neatest things about being able to evangelize Meteor, was because when you could do a deploy on a hobby project and you could get it up there, you could do it very quickly. Somebody could see it. And now, once they put the paywall up, that became, you saw like a slowdown. And I mean, you remember this, Adrian, right? We used to get a lot of demos very early on. And then when the paywall hit,
now you need to pay to have a
demos didn't show up,
Yeah.
people would come with like cool little projects here and there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, then we want to bring this back somehow. We are thinking in this moment, we are discussing a few options. Like if you have crazy ideas, models, we are open to it. Of course, we have some experience in other projects and we are trying to have this, but if you have ideas, we are again open to listen.
Well, I think, certainly one of the things that you guys can do is on projects like what Mirza and Justin have, where you could do a deploy to now, or you could do a deploy to Heroku. As long as I don't think people know about this as much. So perhaps if somebody says, I would love to play with this a little more, Galaxy is too expensive for me to play with, you could say, well, if you don't want to do that, why don't you try the Meteor Heroku or the Meteor Now for demo. That might be a stopgap measure until
we have a better solution.
Until you guys come up with a model that works.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think we are going to try a model pretty soon, and then let's see what the community is going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, this roadmap is in the link below. Then, if you want to check in the forums, but I'm going to migrate to GitHub or someplace that is more static, that you can always go to the same place and see the roadmap there. Just to finish this presentation, I would like to highlight a few works that are in progress right now, like work in progress. Like we have a node upgrade that's really amazing because Meteor, I think, was never running in the latest node. We are always a little bit behind, and now we'll be able to run in the LTS of Node. That's Node 12. And Node 12 provides a few benefits in memory consumption, and we are just fine-tuning this with the community right now. A few people had issues with CPU spikes. Then we analyzed that the problem was in the garbage collector, and Ben was able to change a few codes to make it better in the fibers. Then we are going to probably release this week. I don't know for sure because like Meteor is a different product that it just like you can't just it's done, let's deliver it, because you need to wait feedback because people are building complete different systems. It's hard to predict every use case, but I think in this week or next week it's going to be out. We are also working the Cordova update from the version 7 to 9, and that's also pretty good because 9 is the latest. Then if you can see, like Node is the LTS, Cordova is in the latest, and Cordova work is already done. We already have finished our tests. If you look to the PR, you can see everything is marked as checked, except the bump version that we are going to bump the versions in the end. But I already have it. I think even in my computer right now, I can try to show later, but it's nothing to show because it's working. That it's just run and it's working. And we update everything that was possible, like every plugin that's built with the default Meteor application. We upgraded the Cordova iOS, the Cordova Android, and also the Cordova itself. Then everything's up to date right now. Then that's pretty cool. And the other one that we are almost done also is the MongoDB update. That's not like a major update because MongoDB is not so in the so old version, but we are updating to the latest version as well. People are working on this already. Like we have, like I think you just need to build a new binary, and that is going to be ready pretty soon. Then I think in January and maybe even before the end of January, we are going to have Node, Cordova, and MongoDB with the latest version running in Meteor. And I think that's really cool because as far as I remember, it's the first time. And that's really a sign that you can show to everybody that Meteor is really not dead because we're really running in the latest of every major technology that Meteor relies on.
Let me ask you something. In terms of MongoDB, are you able to take advantage of change streams?
Yes. Okay. With this new driver that we are going to update, we will be able to do this. If you want to replace like uplog for change strings, you can. But that's not in progress yet, but that's something that you can do as a company or the community itself. Also, we have been in touch with people from Atlas, from MongoDB Atlas, and they maybe have some ideas how to improve Meteor consumption of data from Mongo. Yeah. That's also something that's in progress.
One of the big problems years ago, and never really got resolved even when I was at Mongo, was the ability to deal with shards within Meteor, right? Because there would be some issues with regard to shard updates and making sure that you could keep them all synchronized. And there was, I remember when I went to MongoDB, you know, I had discussions with some of the guys that had actually written some articles on this, and they said it was a problem with Meteor that wasn't able to take advantage of the sharding infrastructure. And when I talked to the people at Meteor, they said it was MongoDB. You know, but when I last spoke to the guys at MongoDB, they said that actually the you know, if we took advantage of the change tree, because a lot of the sharding coordination was done on the uplog. It was, you know, that was where a lot of the problems were happening. But if we took advantage of the change streams, then it should resolve that issue, and we should be able to use sharded clusters of MongoDB with Meteor. I don't know if anybody's actually tried it.
Yeah, that could be good. Also, just to mention, because it's amazing work done by Theodore and his team, we have an alternative to, instead of reading the Mongo uplog, it's a very good way to scale Meteor. You should use Red's uplog. Red's is a database, it's a key value database where you can very easily set up an instance, and it's very cheap, Red's instance, and you can stop using the Mongo uplog, and you can start using Red's as your source of chains. And that's really straightforward. Thank you to Theodore. I don't know if he's going to listen to this video, the cut of coders, and Theodore, they did this amazing work. And you just plug this package and you remove the uplog line from your configuration, and it's going to work amazingly well. And you'll be able to scale better because when Meteor, the default Meteor, reads the chains from the uplog, it reads the chains from every data on every server. And then when you have more servers, maybe you'll be able to produce more data. And then each server, you need to handle all the data from more servers, then that can be a scalability issue. But with Red's uplog, the Reds just send the chains for the right server, and then with this, you can scale much more. Then I have experienced this myself. Like, it's not, I'm just saying from articles. I was working a project that was having scalability issues, and with Red's uplog, it was much better because of this idea of just sending the chains to the right servers. Then each container can handle more connections because it's receiving just the chains that's affecting itself. Then that's really cool. And just to finish these highlights, Leonardo, it's a guy from Brazil. I'm from Brazil, but again, it's just a coincidence. Leonardo is working a new version of the React tutorial. And I think that's really, really important. We need to bring new people to Meteor. Like we have here a lot of people that are using Meteor for many years, but you need to have new blood. You need to have people excited because Meteor is really cool. But for us, you take for granted. Like you see Meteor, say, oh, okay, Meteor is not that good. But if you try another tools that you need to configure in many parts, then you say, oh, okay, I'm going to return to Meteor. And now that I'm receiving a lot of feedbacks, I know of some people that are already returning to Meteor. Like they tried to leave Meteor because they thought Meteor was bad. And then they see that, oh no, Meteor was really good, let me return. Then I already know a few stories of people are migrating back to Meteor. And it's bad in the sense that people invest time to migrate to a different technology, and then they realize that Meteor was better, then they invest time again to return to Meteor. That's a lot of money, and I think more important, a lot of time that is wasted. Then we should try to bring new people to Meteor and also to teach them how to use Meteor in the right way. And that's the tutorials are really important. This tutorial, for example, is using the React hooks with the latest work from Kevin. I think his nickname is Captain, Kevin Newman, and a few other guys that unfortunately I don't remember the name, but they work really hard to have Meteor, Cracker, and hooks work together. And it's amazing. Like I was implementing a job test for Pathball, and I was implementing myself my own test to see if I can resolve the test, to see if there is any gap. And I just implemented the solution using this package. The package was not released at the time, and it was amazing. It was like Meteor in the first days, where you just plug Blaze and everything was working, but with React. It was really, really cool. It was really easy to implement. I did the test like in 1 hour. It was amazing. Then this kind of feelings we need to bring back.
That was this package?
No, the package is called, it's the Meteor React Data. Now we have the version 2.0, and the version 2.0 has this support for React hooks. There's the Meteor default integration with React. The links here is the new tutorial that is using that package. And also it's important to highlight the Yuri work, the Yuri that I already mentioned. It's Urigo, his nickname. It has an open source tool that's called Tortilla, to create tutorials, and then you are using Tortilla to create these new tutorials.
That's great. Now, I have to say, you know, and I like Yuri, you know, but I will tell you that his tutorials have been broken for a long time. His Angular tutorials.
Yeah, now you are creating new tutorials using his tool, not his.
And that's great. So the thing is, but I will say it's frustrating because I went to Chicago to give a talk on a Meteor to the Angular group there, and I had to do a lot of workarounds with the tutorial. And I went, and then they got back quickly saying, "We use that tutorial; it doesn't work." You know, so it's one of those things where I think as Meteor, you know, gets new releases, we have to either have people from the community or the owners of those tutorials go back and check and make sure that they work properly with the current version.
And that's the idea with leaders.
Yeah, because that's frustrating to the end user that comes in for the first time and they're trying to learn and it doesn't work. You know, it's just a big turnoff.
Yeah, that's the idea with the leaders in the roadmap.
Yeah.
Because like Leonardo is the guy that's taking over this tutorial, and again we are using Tortilla as the tool to create the tutorial, but he's creating a new tutorial from scratch. It's like the same tutorial, but it's a new code. Then like Leonardo will be responsible for this, and then if Leonardo is not paying attention, we can talk with him and maybe migrate to a different person. But at least you know who is responsible for this.
Right.
Of course, in the end, like Meteor software is responsible for everything. But if the community can help, because imagine that you have like 10 different technologies with 10 different tutorials, it's impossible one team to take care of everything and keep improving the platform. Then that's the idea.
When I had this problem, Yuri was still working for Meteor, right? He built this entire site, this entire tutorial. It was great when it first came out, but then we got to improvements in Angular 2, and the something wasn't working, and he was just so busy with whatever he was doing at the Meteor development group that he wasn't putting the time in on this. And
yeah, but that's the hard part with documentations and tutorials. You need to keep them up to date, and that's not easy. Meteor is a little bit better because it's very hard to have a breaking change, but even though it's good to improve, even when it's not a breaking change. And just to really finish this talk, like how can you help? Then I have just a few ideas here, but if you have other ideas, welcome. You can reach me if you need help. Like writing blog posts about what you're doing with Meteor. Like back in the days, you have more blog posts about Meteor. And I know a lot of people are still building a lot of good stuff in Meteor. I see in the Galax side that you have a lot of great projects, and you should talk more about this. I know there are other tools that are more in hype, and people prefer to write about the hype tools, but you should also highlight that Meteor is still pretty valuable today for your company. And also telling your Meteor success stories. Like maybe you're not making money with Meteor, but you help somebody with a project, or you have some great story that you're able to implement just because of Meteor, because Meteor was simple, was faster. Then we would like to listen to your story. Also, we need help to triage the issues. Like you have many issues in Meteor, like every day, maybe 5, 10 issues. Then most of the issues are not really problems with Meteor, just people using not in the correct way, or people are just with questions. Then if you have some time to spend on the issues, you are welcome also to help with this. Documentation, we are just talking about this. Like it's very hard to keep documentation up to date, and you need your help. You want to spend the technology that you consider like first-class citizen, but you need to have your help to provide a better documentation. And also a very good way and pragmatic way to help is to look in the roadmap, see if you have a topic that you are interested in, and then just candidate to be a leader, or just decide to enjoy the discussions. We have discussions on Slack and also in the issues. Then if you need directions, you can reach me. I will put some contacts in the last slide.
do you have a link for the Slack?
Yes, in the last slide, I have a link for the slide.
Okay, great.
And last piece of news, we are building a new website for Meteor. I think it will be completed this month or early next month. But that's really good because it sends a fresh message, a different design, and I think that's also important. I know that's not going to change anything. It's just a website, but for the marketing side and for the public view, it's important. Maybe for the developers, I don't care. I'm not going to use the website. But the website's really important to show that Meteor is live and Meteor is receiving updates. Then we are really excited about this new version. We are putting a lot of effort in this new version. And thanks for this. And I really want to that this talk is just like the beginning of this relationship with the community. And I would like to receive a lot of feedbacks, a lot of messages. I don't have any issue with this. You can send me direct messages. Also, the community Slack, you have it in this slide that I'm going to share later. You have the invite here. It's a long code because it's an invite for Slack. This Slack was not created by me. It was created by the community. And I think that's really important because I'm not even admin on this Slack, but the community is the owner of this Slack. But it's a great place to meet other developers, to get help, and you can also talk there. You can send private message there. And I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and my email is also there.
Is Meteor still involved?
Meteor,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He's still involved. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's finishing his doctor, PhD, and I think he's a little bit busy, but he's busy, but he's always replying
Yeah.
in the
No, I
issues.
mean, there was a while he stepped back, right? So I wasn't quite sure if he was still.
No, I think he's a little bit busy, but he's always replying things on Slack. Okay, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. Excellent.